After I got off the phone with you last night, I didn't know my left and my right, did I?
I know.
Did you happen to get them?
We got a bunch of photos. He was mine
All right, 6:30 or 6:45. I'm sorry, 6:45. How's everybody this morning? Good. Excellent. So this week's code of conduct is to strive for our restraint, discretion, and integrity. It doesn't hurt to actually do a deep dive into seeing what are the, again, just restraint. This is just right out of Google search. It's just a measure of condition that keeps someone or something under control or within limits, under control. Discretion is the quality of behaving or speaking in such a way to avoid cause offense or revealing private information. And integrity is the quality of being honest and having a strong moral principle, more upright. Kind of saying what you do and do what you say type of mentality. This is my favorite code for sure. This is definitely kind of the behavior-based safety stuff that we're really trying to be our main focus of 2018, and this code definitely highlights those three really core principles. So think about that today and next week moving forward. So safety news again. We had a short week, but hey, another incident-free week, which was fantastic. So we just set a record, 146 days. Well, 145 was our previous record, so we're beating it by a day. So let's continue to work together to focus on what our hazards are, our hazard recognition, and then how are we controlling our hazards during that hierarchy of control through elimination, engineering control, safe work practices, and then again, our last line of defense is our personal protective equipment. So
on a personal note, you have eliminated the hazard of razor blades.
Yes, I have. Yes. Again, I have isolated myself from razor blades.
Yep.
You sure you're not trimming?
I'm just patting it down right now. It looks terrible, man. It really does. But my wife's been strong so far, so I thank her for that. So this week I just wanted to highlight. Last week we talked a little bit about aerial lifts. It's something that's in the scaffolding standard and the OSHA standards. So scaffolding is something that we don't really do a whole lot of, but I did want to raise the awareness that we have it available for types of work. If it's concrete finishing of a wall or something like that, we do have enough scaffolding now to get you up, at that fall protection limit. So this is over at Ken's property, something that we did for Greg Farr did for the peak, and just wanted to highlight some of the main parts of scaffolding. This is located in the old rigging building. Now this is where you can find our scaffolding assetment. It's two layers worth, gets you about 10 to 15 feet off the ground. Now, a couple main things when it comes to scaffolding. First thing, everything needs to be plumb. Okay, you need to just make sure you got good firm ground, and you want to start it with a 4-foot level to making sure that it is vertical, because that's going to be your base. Everything is going to be built off that. So you want to make sure it's plumb. These are adjustable legs. Okay, so that kind of helps you with uneven terrain. Some of the things in the requirements is very important that we always use the base plates with a sill plate. And a sill plate is just something that, for this, especially this time of year, it prevents you from sinking into freezing and thawing ground. It's trying to make it where it stays nice and firm. Because what happens when we've had catastrophic failure throughout the United States is no one is checking these on a daily basis. So it's very important to always before workers get on it, throw a level on it, take a quick inspection, look if anything's missing before we put any people on a scaffolding system when we do a daily inspection. Fall protection for scaffolding systems need to be 10 feet. All right, so this one you can see 10 feet. We put up a nice standardized guardrail system at 10 feet. Men are able to work up there without the risk of a falling hazard. It's very important that we have proper means of egress. We're not allowed to climb on any cross braces or anything like that. It should have a nice, this one has a ladder built in it, some don't. You're going to make sure you throw a ladder in there to get safe means of egress on and off your scaffolding. Other than that, biggest thing is you don't want to overload your scaffold. You want to make sure that the scaffolding system can withstand the type of weight with people that's on your scaffolding system. All that is on the manufacturer's recommendation. We go to their website, we can figure out how much weight a scaffold can hold at what height. And then the last thing that's very important is fully decked workstations. So we want to make sure that we got fully decked. We have plenty of these wooden deck panels, again, with the scaffolding. in the old rigging building, which is to the right of the conduit building in out back. Is there any questions? Greg, is there anything that I missed?
Yep. The two top rails on the ends of it, we didn't put on because the overhang was in the way. So we use our tie off harness.
Oh, 'cause and again, you can use a personal fall rest system too. So you've got to make sure it has a
We got
tie
a
off.
bottom rail on the side, but we couldn't
Yeah.
give it a top one.
Yeah.
Can you climb those frames?
This style, again, it's per manufacturer's recommendation. There are some out there that you can't. There are some that you can. Joe, yeah. It all depends on what manufacturers has. Yeah. But you definitely do not climb with the cross braces and stuff like that. That's one of the most common accidents you see. There's ladders built in if there's not.
So how do I determine the weight limit of what I can put on that scaffold station?
Again, we'll go right back to the manufacturer's recommendations. We'll throw it right there, and it'll tell us how much weight that platform and that scaffolding system can hold. I don't have that information on ours off the top of my head.
Such as forklift man puts a pallet or something up
Exactly.
there plus the people.
Exactly. We need to figure out what that is. If we're ever going to do that type of application, it's usually for brickwork type of application. Then you would want to make sure for sure you would know what the working load limit of that scaffolding can have.
Am I allowed to climb off of that scaffold onto the structure, onto the roof, to the floor?
Well, you got to look at your fall hazards. Are you exposing yourself to a fall hazard? If you are, then you would have to be tied off, move, and then untie off like inside or something. You gotta look to see where are you exposed to fall or not. Or if you're a completely guardrailed system in, then I would say you're able to do that. But if you're not, or if there's a gap, you would need to look at your fall hazards.
Thanks, Matt.
Lots of times, Matt, too, if you've got a lot of tools or whatever, and you can't have a bench, just put them on up there. Tool boards, you can kick them off on the top of something.
Yep, and that's what we didn't talk about. People working below you, we need to make sure we have toe boards. Yeah, you gotta look at that risk assessment, and see what our potentials are and eliminate them. Yeah.
Masons really need it.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. So corporate announcements, just stay safe. I think one of the things to watch for this time of year is the refreezing of the wet surfaces. I had a fall here a couple weeks ago, and I landed on my wrist and my elbow. I felt the shock all the way up in my shoulder. I laid there for a minute, felt fine, got up, I was okay. And that night, I went to the hockey game, and clapping my hands irritated the wrist, and it actually got swollen up. And I had to hold my arm like this. But I took a couple Tylenols, and it was just swelling in the wrist, and I was fine. Just amazing. A magic drug. So a ticket giveaway here. We have tickets to give away for the Make-A-Wish event coming up. This is their 13th annual dinner dance. It's held on the 23rd of March on a Friday night. So it's social hour, silent auction, live auction. And it's up at the American Legion in St. Albans. And we have Chef Susan LeClaire. I guess she's a catering, or Santini Catering. So I don't know if anyone's had her catering, but must be pretty good. And music by Tim Roselle. And these are $40 tickets, and the company bought some to benefit the Make-A-Wish. And if someone wants to take themselves and their spouse, then please let me know. The ECI app is still highlighted here, so make sure if you haven't got it, you get it installed. I think they're still taking comments if you have any things to propose changing. And for a project, we're highlighting the water break that was at Hurricane Lane here a couple weekends ago. We were hired to repair the break at that State of Vermont building at Hurricane Lane. All the Department of and I think life safety or whatever, like the building inspector guys are there. So it was 6 feet below the surface of pavement, been leaking for an extended period of time. It was only noticed more recently when they were reading the meter. The parking lot was covered with a foot of ice from the water once it did start letting out. And after excavating, discovered there was a large boulder on top of the pipe. It was used as backfill, and it just worked its way onto the pipe and caused a hole. And the boulder was suppressing the flow, but once we pulled the boulder off, it really came out. So the pipe was easily repaired, excavation, backfilled, and actually it was paved with the hot mix that came out of Native or Dracut, right?
Oh, it didn't get there yet.
It didn't get there. Oh, well, that's what we tried to do.
We tried to do it.
Yeah, okay. That was the plan. So there was a cold evening. Seems like these water breaks usually are. I don't know what size pipe that was. Looks like 6 inch. Looks like it. Yep. And we had to provide some lighting, and of course turned out to be icy and messy, and move the boulder. So remember, if you're backfilling anything, boulders aren't good for backfill. This is a project from our archives. This is the NECR Middlesex milepost 8277. There's a large culvert here going under the tracks, and it had failed because of the washout. It actually had split apart, creating a gap in the pipe because it's basically some of the ground seemed to have slidden away, or maybe it was erosion, I can't recall, but it broke open that multi-plate pipe and then created a sinkhole which kept feeding material, water, washing material into the pipes, and then all of a sudden, once you get a condition like that, it just unravels. So we had to dig back towards the tracks. The railroad was out of service, and we took to the breached part of pipe and took the old section of pipe and brought them back together and backfilled it with rock on that project. So kind of a neat thing. So that's what I got. So stay safe and have a good weekend.
John Lamphere.
Ben, for a second.
Jesse Littlefield.